Most branding problems are not design problems. They look like design problems, though. The logo feels dated. The website feels weak. The colors do not feel right anymore. The social media looks inconsistent. But in most cases, those are not the real issue. They are just the visible symptom of something deeper. What is usually sitting underneath it is lack of clarity. Clarity around who the business is for. Clarity around what it actually wants to be known for. Clarity around how it should be positioned in the market. And clarity around what the business needs the brand to do. That is where most companies go wrong. They start with visuals before they have made the harder strategic decisions. They begin with a logo, a color palette, a style direction, a mood board. And that feels productive because visual work is tangible. You can see it. You can react to it. You can approve it. But without strategy, design becomes expensive decoration. A brand is not there to simply look polished. It is there to support trust, to support positioning, to support recognition, and most importantly, to support decisions. Because when a potential client lands on your website, reads your proposal, sees your presentation, or hears how you speak about the business, they are making judgments very quickly, not just about whether you look good, but about whether you feel credible, whether you feel established, whether you feel clear, and whether you feel like the right fit. That is why strategy has to come first. Before you decide what the brand should look like, you need to decide what it needs to communicate. Before you choose colors, you need to know what market position you are trying to hold. Before you design a logo, you need to know what kind of business identity you are building around. Because design cannot rescue weak positioning. It cannot fix a confused offer. It cannot solve inconsistent messaging. And it cannot create authority where the strategic foundation is still vague. What it can do is make whatever already exists more permanent. That is the part many businesses miss. Design does not create the underlying business truth. It reveals it. It sharpens it. It makes it visible. So if the business is unclear, the brand will be unclear. If the messaging is generic, the design will still feel generic, even if it is beautifully executed. If the positioning is weak, the visual identity may look modern, but it will still fail to carry weight. Strong brands usually do the opposite. They do not begin by asking, "What should this look like?" They begin by asking, "What are we actually building? What needs to be understood? What needs to feel true? What are we trying to signal? And what kind of client are we trying to attract?" Once those answers are clear, the design process becomes far more precise. Then the identity is no longer based on preference alone, it is based on alignment. The visuals begin to support the business instead of distracting from it. The website becomes more coherent. The message becomes sharper. The brand begins to feel consistent. Because it is built on decisions, not guesswork. And that changes the result completely. Because now the brand is not just attractive, it is useful. It is not just stylish, it is strategic. It is not just a visual layer placed on top of the business. It becomes a structured expression of what the business actually is. So if your brand feels off, dated, inconsistent, or weaker than the level your business now operates at, the first question should not be, "Do we need a new logo?" The first question should be, "Are we clear enough yet?" Clear on the position. Clear on the message. Clear on the market. Clear on the role the brand needs to play. Because once strategy is in place, design becomes far easier to get right. And that is the point. Branding should not begin with style. It should begin with structure. It should begin with clarity. It should begin with strategic intent. Because most branding problems are not design problems. They are clarity problems, made permanent through design.